Hello there, this is a quick update to the charity scam and terror operation that's been in progress now for about 25 years. This is, of course, that started in 1995 with the beginning of my cancer and development of the tumour in my sinus cavity, and this murder attempt in 2003 by Dan Marshall, the brick murder attempt 17 years ago. Now, as I say, this escalated in 2014, 6 years ago, to involve the abduction of my son and manipulation of my son to silence him, isolate him in order to try and hide evidence. This is of the awful cancer scam that's now just been recently rumbled. I've made several videos recently about this, drawing attention to this awful scam and all the evidence that I have carefully acquired to prove in any court of law that this is one of the biggest crimes in human existence at the moment. And what is of specific interest at the moment is this chap, my father, Dr. Edward Galizia. I think, let's have a look here. This is this chap here, who, as I say, was telling me right at the beginning that my cancer symptoms were normal in 1995. This is where all the trouble started, right here, 1995, when the tumour first developed in my sinus cavity, and my father started telling me that all the symptoms were normal, which basically kicked off, this whole terror campaign with hideous torture, because obviously using sinus cancer symptoms to torture a patient is nothing more than macabre torture. So that was the foundation to this whole terror operation that's been going on now for 25 years and escalated at various points over the past 25-year period. So yes, the double standards here, cannot be underestimated. And what I'm trying to get at here is that the treatment I've been subjected to has been absolutely awful. Murder attempts. There was a brick murder attempt 2003. Then there was another murder attempt 2012. This is by a chap called Asher Osmondson. This is this chap this chap down here. It's grinning coward. Nothing more than a spineless coward, really, to attack somebody who's had a serious car accident, suffering from cancer, who was also half his own size at the time. Really, the most, and this is how I very sadly came out of that brutal murder attempt in 2012. And it seems very clear to me that the only purpose of this murder attempt, is a massive brain injury here, nearly causing a brain bleed and death, of course, which was the intention of the attack. And of course, the intention of the attack was just to suppress cures. Is all part and parcel of this awful, cancer charity scam. Just to mutilate people and suppress cures, is all part of this business. In order to use the mutilated victims to collect ever-increasing amounts of money to look for cures, when in truth they use the money to suppress them and beat anyone to death for exposing the scam. In black and white, as clear and simple as that. It couldn't really be simpler, to be honest with you. Now, this raises the question, well, what on earth is the double standards of this scam are just bloody terrible. It's worse than childish. It's worse than bad. They're literally, they've got all this money. They've been given a ticket just to mutilate, terrorise and murder, and they're using it to the full extent that they can, And this, unfortunately, now, as I say, has caused a family feud, because what you're looking at here, this is me and my son here, and my son who's being isolated and manipulated. This is other members of my family who are all being consistently terrorised and manipulated for about the past 10 years. Haven't seen my sister for the last 10 years. So what on earth is a father doing terrorising his own son? This is me here. Literally in the middle of this picture, just being terrorised by, on a global basis, just by about, as I say, 50 of these people. This is just the tip of the iceberg that we're looking at here. There's at least 30 or 40 more of these characters in the background, all put to the task of terror, just isolating me and trying to hide evidence in order to maintain and perpetuate this awful scam, which they're obviously considered to be extremely important. It supplied them with income for many years, and they were clearly depending on it for income in the future. And they've therefore decided that brutally murdering people is therefore perfectly acceptable and perfectly justified in order to make the money that they need and expand the scam. But that unfortunately makes my father a completely spineless coward. What on earth, I mean, really, is a man like this doing? I mean, using all this terror, using cancer symptoms to terrorize his son, while also protecting murderers. And this is the point maybe that I'm getting to here. And, actually, the slide that I wanted to show, this is all the crimes that have been committed by these people in the picture here. All these people here are now being listed in this slide here as a means of just making a record of all their crimes in one place. This is my father, what he's been up to, 24 years of brutal torture, terrorism, shielding murderers, and that's the point I was just talking about actually, is all these people here, as we'll come to in a minute. This guy was the chap that performed the brick murder attempt 2003. This is him here with the brick. This is the family member that protects him, while he bricks murders people and causes GBH and all kinds of other horrible issues to people. This is the woman that encouraged him to do the brick murder attempt, incited her own father to suicide. Very clear evidence of foul play now in the death of her father. This is, as I say, the guy that performed the brutal murder attempt 2012. There was other people actually that performed a number of physical assaults that I haven't included on here. But the point is, yes, I mean, this woman's serial daddy killer, I'd say, because, she caused serious problems for me, and I believe contributed to the mutilations of my face. Yes, and as I say, clear evidence he encouraged her own father to take his own life. This guy's a killer. This guy's a killer. So what is my father doing? Protecting these murderers, under his umbrella, when all they've done is try to kill his son. This is literally three people that have tried very, very hard to murder his son, and all he does is try to protect them. Literally, it's just so cowardly, so spineless. It's literally, I can't think of anything more cowardly in all my life. If we just have a quick look and summary, just to finish up, what these people have been up to. Anita Fairbank, attempted murder by her boyfriend Dan Marshall. She was also committing perjury and falsifying police statements in 2003 to cover up the brick murder attempt. This in turn caused GBH to our son. Just tackled that. This is the attempted murder 2012. Auntie Jill. This is a neighbour of mine now who's waded in recently with insults and threats toward me, trying to cover up murder attempts on behalf of her friend. This is Anita Fairbank up here, her best friend. When she's not done any research, of course, she doesn't know anything about the scam. She's just waded in blind, literally blindly, just hurling insults, in the most god-awful situation, just humiliating herself. And Maya Dunkley, this is my sister, encouraged by my father to use cancer to terrorise and mutilate me. This is since about 25 years ago. Changed her number 10 years ago, or was it 8 years ago, when I asked her about the huge paedophile ring at her workplace, Great Ormond Street Hospital. So yeah, very, very suspicious behaviour from her too. This is 7 people in total, 3 murderers in this list, and my father's protecting them all, or appears to be. Which then raises the question, well, how much are they paying the police in order to cover up all this crime? Because, as I say, all this has been was reported to the police in July of last year, Dorset Police, who have so far done absolutely nothing about this. Not even, I believe they've called my father to just chat to him, but they didn't actually raise, of course, the issue of any of the crimes because they were too nervous to. Which then raises the question, well, of course, how much are these people paying the police to cover up this scam? Which is it's all part and parcel of this. It's obviously a huge amount per week, per month, per year, in order to just, they're just sharing the profits of the scam with the police. It's as simple as that, isn't it? And how much, of course, money they're making is now, coming under increasing scrutiny, because very clearly, yes. there doesn't seem to be any intention at the moment, at least, to address their crimes and do anything about it. And as I say, this sort of level of criminality and this sort of three murderers and all the evidence that I've collected clearly suggests that yes, the amount of money these people are paying the police in order to cover up all these crimes is colossal.